we have to create the right vibe, the energy, and everybody at the organization has to feel so privileged to be here. It's no other way.
Thanks for listening to the Purely Arsenal podcast. Please follow us on Twitter at PurelyArsenalFP for all the latest Arsenal podcasts.
Welcome to another edition of a Purely Arsenal sit-down podcast. We're back from the international break. We're back with a bang. Back with my regulars. Neil Shah, how are you?
Oh, I am wonderful and very happy for Raya to keep a clean sheet on his 100th appearance. So, come on, Raya.
I didn't even think about that. Well, I thought about the clean sheet, of course, because they're becoming very regular, which is good. Did not realise it was 100th appearance. Yeah. Completely missed that one, so that's a good one. Also, James Johnstone with me. James, how are you?
Yeah, I'm very good, and I'll throw another one in there to add on to Mr. Neil's great little bit there. 42 clean sheets, the most of any goalkeeper with 100 games for Arsenal. So, statistically, best Arsenal goalkeeper of all time.
Yeah, do you know what? I mean, it sounds crazy because obviously a lot of other goalkeepers have won big things and stuff like that, but he's right up there. As a goalkeeper and his attributes, I know this is not going to be talking too much about our goalkeeper considering they had 0.18 XG, Nottingham Forest, but he's a top goalkeeper, isn't he? Anyone
when he was needed, Jack, he pulled one off again.
Yeah. Oh, what a save, by the way. I just slowed that down about 5 minutes ago. I was like, let me just double check he did make it, because it wasn't really a chance. It was a deflection, wasn't it? Chris Wood didn't actually know what happened there. And that was amazing, because I don't know, what was the score? I mean, we're completely going off here, but what was the score?
I think it was 2-0 then, wasn't it?
It was 2-0. Yeah. But you know what? We've had that in the past, haven't we? 2-0, and then no one's in the game, and then suddenly it's you're neck and neck, and your last 15 minutes you're under the cosh and bring in you're calling Tomiyasu back up.
It was important.
All that, even though he's not at the club anymore. But it was a very good save, you're right. 3-0 Nottingham Forest. We're going to discuss that. Talk a little bit about the start of our Champions League campaign against Athletic Bilbao for a 5:45 p.m. game on Tuesday, I believe it is, and obviously big one against City away, I believe, on the weekend. So is it away or home? Sorry, it's home. It's home. Is it home? You're looking at me going, that's home. Jeez, I don't look more than one picture ahead. That's it. I just know names. It's dreadful, isn't it? Oh, it's home. Okay. Oh, that changes a few things, doesn't it? Because City play Thursday, I believe, in the Champions League as well, don't they? They play Thursday away.
Yeah, so and they're moaning and complaining. They've complained about it. I'm like, no, you didn't care last season when Arsenal had to do it, but all of a sudden Man City are doing Thursday, Sunday. Oh, it's the end of the world.
Yeah, I went on that. You'll watch, the whole media will talk about it this week, whereas when it happened with us, it was just like, oh, Arsenal back in the Europa League again, are they, when we were in the Champions League and happened to be the first and only away flipping Champions League game in Atalanta, down to 10 men as well, I believe, weren't we, at some point in that game? I don't know. Well, I thought we were down to 10 men.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think we were.
I think we were. Or did we just...
sorry, I'm shaking my head because of the stupidness of it all, as usual. But
Sorry, we were down to 10 men in the City game that came after it. Maybe not the Atlanta one, but we were under the cosh for a while. But anyway, into this one. Neil, I wonder what you would have felt last year if we didn't play Havertz, we didn't play Saka, we couldn't play Saliba, Odegaard was out injured again. We decided all with that we would rest Declan Rice. I don't think he was dropped, he was rested. I mean, what does it say about the ability of the manager to say, I can rest Declan Rice? With all of that we just out, I can rest him. And yet, we put in a performance like this, which I think was a top level performance. I know Forest have had a lot of changes, etc. But I think if you look at the whole 90-minute performance, it was a really impressive performance from the collective. I mean, what does that say, Neil, about the sort of squad we've built for this season?
Well, it's what a signing we had in the man who brings the players in. For me, it's the best signing that we've done for years, because it tells me a lot about what he's done and his ability to make some amazing purchases. I mean, look at the young lad that we just brought in at the 11th hour. Hitachi, I call him. He's supposed to be an animal as well. And if it's anything to do, and if he's anything like Mosquito, oh my God, it's incredible. So I would actually go as far as to say, what's it say about him more than Arteta? It's now up to Arteta to do his thing, to use the squad, and fair play, he did it yesterday. It was great. I have to give this guy a shout. I don't know his name, but as I was leaving the stadium, a Nottingham Forest fan approached me, and he goes, "I've been going to Forest all my life." He says, "I've not seen you guys." He goes, "I don't think you're as well kitted out as I saw you today. The last time you were like this was in your Wenger golden era." And he says, "You've got all the tools now to go on and win this thing." And he said, he goes, "I knew it was going to be hard." He goes, "I had a glimmer of hope when you think about the players you just mentioned, Jack, that are out." And he goes, "We had a slight glimmer of hope. All of us travelling fans had a slight glimmer. And then as soon as within 5 minutes, we thought, wow, we're getting smashed here. We're getting smashed eventually." I know it all started so a bit slowly, but he said, "My God, you have got some squad." He says, "Be happy and enjoy this moment because it doesn't come round often." So that's coming from a Forest fan after the game. So he should have been on the podcast. He summed it up perfectly, really. But yeah, and it's nice to hear that from an opposition fan, and they're the kind of fans I like, true fans. Not idiots, He really was a decent guy, and not even that old. Probably in his mid-30s, early 40s. I just think it says a lot about the squad and the fact that there's no drop off now in terms of levels. It was a telling factor yesterday again when Martinelli and Trossard came on so late. I was thinking, just imagine all last season and probably before they're our two starters, or potentially one of them at least is our starter. Now we're bringing both of them on as substitutes with a few minutes left. It's just incredible. Mosquito, don't even find any difference in the fact that Saliba's not there. It's just amazing. He did. Although he made a slight mistake, he redeemed it immediately with what I would suggest was a world-class tackle, because I think that would have been a dangerous moment for us. And then you've got the two wingers who I think were outstanding. But I'll tell you my three standout players, Jack, and they're all newbies. It was Scooby-Doo, it was Mosquito, and it was what was the third? Madueke, of course. Brilliant summer signings for us.
Yeah, we're going to get onto all of those. It does say a lot. Like Neil said, James, it was a great performance. Forest, they've had a tough start to the season. I don't think they showed a lot, but that's credit to us, really. Because Forest have, in terms of big games, these players at least last season, they've had some, they've caused big teams big trouble. And. So, yeah, I just wonder, the thing that interests me quite a lot about the players that we mentioned is the players that come in for them, because we don't quite know yet if, I think before we felt players that were coming in for those players were genuine, what Mikel Arteta used to call sort of the second tier group. But this group's quite interesting because there's a little bit of the unknown about them. We don't really know. And what we're seeing in a lot of them, like the ones that Neil just mentioned, is that they've actually got a really high potential to challenge the players. No matter how good those players are, they've got the ability to challenge those players and at the very least keep them very much on their toes, because they're going, I do not want to be out any extra time here because I've got someone that's going to possibly take the shirt off my back. And genuinely, I don't think I'm overplaying it there, even though these are big players they're replacing. I think this is genuine competition. I mean, do you agree with that, James? Because that's what I find quite interesting about it.
Oh yeah, 100%. And again, it's all on how the manager handles it. But I've been a very, very harsh critique of the manager, especially the last few years and what have you. And I can see already, only 4 games into the season, he's changing and he's learning. And that is purely because now, and I think you guys have hit the nail on the head perfectly, before where he's had a group and he likes to keep his group small, like Guardiola, he likes having a small set of players that he works with. But we always said, didn't we, we've got a squad of 20, 21. He only trusts 18. So then there's 3 or 4 that are just there that, if I have to use them in an emergency, I'll use them. But no, I think now he fully backs and he fully trusts every single person that's in that squad. And if you want to look at it, Jack, first game of the season, used all 5 of his subs. Second game of the season, all 5 of his subs. Liverpool, okay, he only used 4. but he had to make that Mascara one early. But yesterday, again, all 5 of his subs, and okay, people can say, oh, they should have been earlier or whatever, but I think he made the main subs. Obviously, the Odegaard one was an injury, 16, 18 minutes in. But the first set of the substitutions was 68 minutes. And they were for players that, it is head. And also, as fans, I think we could all see that game's over. Yeah, we're getting 2 to 3 games a week coming up. You've only got one real recognised striker in Gyokeres. Get him off, get someone else, move Merino up. And so, that to me is a positive, because before, and we've said it, he would leave players on, and then like we always go on about Neil about all the injuries, I'm like, yeah, because he's overplaying these players. I'm like, at least he's seeing now, well, hang on a sec, I've got this amazing plethora of options due to the director in the summer signing and doing whatever he's done with his great eye and vision of what he had for the team. And it's paying its fruits of its labour at the moment, because we're winning these games. But then every time that we're watching them, we're all going, "Oh, weren't he got?" We always say it. What I love is, and I saw it yesterday, and it was a thing that made me so happy, was after the game. I pick man of the matches. I do it all the time for my channel, and we like to do it here and everything. If you were to ask us, we could all have 3 different answers.
Yeah.
I heard so many different answers yesterday for who people thought man of the match were. And that to me just goes to show, well, we must have played really well then, because everybody's got a different person that they picked. They went, I thought I thought he was the best. And I love that. I love that. So, yeah, really, really happy, and very, very positive signs. And we needed that anyway. There was so much doom and gloom after Liverpool. I was livid. I think a lot of Arsenal fans were livid. Yeah. But, we had to come into this today or yesterday even, and it was a tricky fixture. I know a lot of people said, oh, come on, Ange's only been there a day and what have you. But I still, when I did my prediction with you, Jack, I think I said 2-1, and that was before they even sacked him. But I thought, this could be a bit tight. I weren't expecting it to be as comfortable as it was. But yeah, thank God it was.
Yeah. Fantastic. I'm not muted here, am I? No. No, you're spot on. And it started, Neil, if we go sort of slightly chronologically, obviously the one disappointment was obviously the Odegaard injury again, which is frustrating. It's the same shoulder, I believe. I kind of checked that. It's the same shoulder. And that means he's re-irritated the same injury. It wasn't healed. There's no way medically, I know they didn't release it, but you can tell from the impact where they're pushing that what that injury is most likely. There was not that common in football, to be honest, but ligaments don't heal in 2 to 4 weeks, so you always got the chance of having a connection. So the hope is it's like if you kind of retweak a mild ankle sprain, then he needs a few days and maybe he actually won't be out for such a long period of time. Or they might go on the other hand and go, look, he's re-aggravating again, we've got a risk here if he comes into any contact. He does fall awkwardly, I will say that about Odegaard. Sometimes when he goes in, he just falls a little awkwardly for me. He falls too much for me as well, but I don't want to accuse him of anything. It was a weird challenge where his body kind of went over and his arm got tucked underneath him, where you look at it and go, you usually get your arm out there and sort of protect you, but again, unfortunate. I don't like the fact that he probably should just come off. I think he did it in the 6th or 7th minute, but then came off about 10 minutes later again, a bit like the Leeds one, which I'm not sure necessarily helps the situation. But good to see that when Yeri is given the responsibility for home games like this and games where we're always putting the team under the cosh, it seems like that will be the way to go. But in the big games when Yeri maybe won't quite get the call yet, which I kind of am understanding of. But early on, we didn't create a ton. Again, it felt like set pieces were going to be what opened things up for us. Again, the biggest chance before the goal was Merino's from a set piece, I believe, which he should have scored. And then it was good to see, if we go into the first goal, terrific goal, good to see that we actually put Madueke. I don't know why we didn't put Madueke on set. He's not suddenly learned how to take a corner since the Liverpool game, so we should have just put him on him against the Liverpool game. My brother argued that Saka's set piece stats are covering up some of his abilities to create from open play. My brother is on Saka, and I said, okay, well, let's see Madueke do it then, and he did take some good corners, to be fair. So it's possible, it's doable. A footballer should be able to take set pieces, I think. So that was good to see. But that combination, Neil, I mean, Madueke, but what a hit from Zubimendi. He does have this, I know it's his first goal from outside the box in his career. But he does have a goal. He does have a good eye for goal, actually, Zubimendi. When you watch him at some of his clips of Spain and Sociedad, he gets forward. He had not quite like Partey, like a screamer from 50 yards every now and then, but he does have the ability to get forward. We saw that in this game. It was a great hit. I know deflected, but it was a great hit, Neil.
It's tremendous. And just before I talk about the goal, just very briefly, I was watching him really closely because I unlike you guys, I don't really know much about footballers that come, play for other teams and then come in here. I only started really studying them once they arrive at Arsenal, and I thought, let me just keep a close eye on him. And I was fascinated by the way he actually plays football. He's so graceful. I said to the guy next to me, he goes, he's the Federer of football. Because he's so graceful, the way when he collects the ball, his body shape, even when he kicks the ball, he's very elegant and graceful on the pitch. He's quite pleasing to the eye. And I never really saw that in him. And I was like, wow, what a player we've got here. And then the fact that we've been after him for 2 years or 3 years?
Yeah, long time.
And now we've got him. I mean, it just says a lot. It speaks volumes, I think. But that was tremendous. I was pleased for that. I know it wasn't a direct assist, but it was a corner from Madueke, who I think was absolutely awesome. He's one of my 3 man of the matches, as James quite rightly said earlier. You could pick a few, but it was a great. And then I think is it off Chris Woods? I don't know who it came off, their player, but the strike, his positioning, the way he took it, his body shape, perfect, and what a strike. And initially, I think I asked you, because I wasn't sure, because on the replays on the big screen it's difficult to see, but it didn't look like there was any deflection. But I think there was a very slight deflection, wasn't there? But it was just a power, it was a hammer, wasn't it? It was just a beautifully executed, well-connected shot. And I think no one could do anything about that. It went through 2 defenders, I think, and it went flying past the goalkeeper at rocket speed. What a goal. And nice to see, although you're right, up to that point, the only threat was from set pieces. It's nice to see that we got something which is kind of a set piece, but it was also outside the box, and it wasn't a typical Gabriel or one of the bigger players getting ahead to it. It's just something different. And most importantly for him, who I think scored his first brace of his career and the first goal outside the box, to build his confidence. The fact that he scored for Arsenal, scored for his new club, I think it's very, very important, because I know that we're hoping that the front lineup of, maybe potentially these 3 are going to bag us loads of goals, but we do need goals from other areas as well. And the fact that he's now on the score sheet, we know that Merino can do it if he plays up front. We know that there's a couple of other players that do. Saka will score, he'll get the numbers. But the fact that the more of the players that we get in to do that, I think it's very, very important. Beautiful finish, and it set us on our way. After a bit of a cagey, it wasn't a cagey start, but I felt, again, there was a lot of side to side, and we weren't really gelling straight away. I didn't feel it was a great performance for the whole game. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't feel that we were really. Again, it was almost just that final ball, that final pass. It just wasn't there, and then that set us on our way. I think beautifully. It made us all feel comfortable, and of course, it got the crowd going. So it was a great strike.
Yeah, it was, and Madueke, a big part of it. James, we've got to talk about him. I mean, I was quite vocal about being quite worried and critical of Madueke's signing, like I wasn't. I'd have to say, with the caveat to that was the belief that many of us had, not just me. I don't believe that was going to be our starting left winger signing, not our supportive, challenging right winger signing. When as soon as Eze signed, my sort of opinion on the type of signing Madueke was altered, because I didn't expect another attacking signing like many of us didn't. I certainly didn't. I wasn't super optimistic about us spending 260 million odd this window, which we ended up doing, which I'm thankful for. But one thing I will say, he does look so much more comfortable for England and for Arsenal from the right wing. I mean, there isn't a doubt in my mind about that. He looks like a right winger, But he is. What I want to ask James, I mean, I really am quite excited by what I saw, because I definitely taken aback. I didn't realise he had this many qualities, of course, but he's actually a real contrast to Saka. He's much more direct. He's much more of a dribbler. I think he had 5 dribbles in this game, which was by far more than anyone else in the game. Obviously, they didn't have a left back to start with. They kind of repurposed someone, and then I think they got an injury in the first half and had to change it again. So that, but he did it again. He was impressive against Liverpool. So let's not just act like it's who he's going up against. Let's give Madueke some credit. But he was really direct, James. Really exciting. Really, really fun to watch, I thought, which is a good thing to say. And wanted to go past his man. Wanted to take risks. I was really, really impressed, James. And I love it when I get proved wrong anyway. So it's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Again, you're absolutely spot on. I mean, over here on TNT, Jack, we had Fletcher, who I can't abide. I don't like him as a commentator. And then he had my number 2 favourite person in the world, Annie McCoist. But they did make a point where they said that, and I can't remember who it was. That I wish I could remember the name of the guy, because you're spot on. They did repurpose somebody. I think he's primarily normally a right back, but they had to play him at left back due to injuries and everything. But they said about, this is the most single-handedly I've seen a winger destroy his left back since Yamal versus DiMarco in that second leg of that Champions League. I mean, DiMarco, for me, on his day, next to Nuno Mendes, is arguably the best left back in the world. But yeah, Lamine Yamal, absolutely. But you could see this guy for Nottingham Forest at times was just like, lads, help me out. He's like, he is ruining me. Like, he is absolutely ruining. He's like, double up with me. Because he said, I can't, this guy, bless him, he just couldn't handle it. But yeah, the minute this guy adds more goals and assists, what a player he'll be. Because he is rapid, but he's not like Martinelli. I hate to turn into Martinelli and Trossard even. I mean, Trossard got an assist, so I'm trying to be as kind as I can be. But when he runs, he doesn't run looking at his boots. His head's up, and he's trying to. And he put some brilliant crosses in first half, but there was a few that went over a couple of people's heads because they weren't reading it properly. And I'm like, he really, like you said, he's so direct, so fast, and you can tell that. And Neil, we had this conversation when you were with me and Mike the other night. He's so happy to be here, and I saw clips of the interview at the end of the game that he did with Eze, and there was sort of like subtle digs at Maresca in there about, not being shown love and not being in an environment where he believed that he could, blossom and thrive in. And I think, again, that's another testament that I will give Arteta. He's very good in a way, picking up these players that are down and then making it, because I'm like, look at the contrast with Kai Havertz from when he was at Chelsea to where he is now. Their fans, he scored them such an important goal to win them their second Champions League, and they treated the guy like shit. And then he comes into Arsenal, weren't going great. We give him a penalty. Everyone makes a chant for it. And he said, didn't he? He went, if I could win a Champions League or a title at Arsenal, it would mean so much more to me, because these fans are on my side as well as me being on this side. And I think Madueke's the same. I think if we manage to do something with Madueke, he'd prefer that way over anything that he's done at Chelsea, because he's like, these fans genuinely back me and love me. And I know I'm jumping the gun here, but what I loved was when he did get subbed yesterday, and you were there, Neil, weren't you? Standing ovation and the people chanting his name. And I'm like, finally, because a lot of people, and we mentioned it again when Neil and Mike were with me, so many people were turning into, we had these, and I can only call them dickheads, Jack. That's the only word I can describe them as, unfortunately. I wish I could find something else that's not as offensive, but they're dickheads. To put a hashtag and to have it trend, oh, no to Madueke, no to Madueke. I'm like, he hasn't even kicked a ball. He hasn't even kicked a ball, but I had no reservations with this signing whatsoever, because I know I've, again, watching him since when he played against us when he was at PSV, and we were like, you know what, he ain't bad. There's something about him. And then when he went to Chelsea, I've always said when I was watching, I'm like, if I could take one player from Chelsea, it's him, because I'm like, if you want a perfect Saka backup, this guy's it. But I don't think he's coming. I don't think he sees himself as backup. I think he sees it as, if you want me to, I'll go on that left-hand side. I know he prefers play it, but he's like, I want to play.
That's what I wanted to ask next is there an argument that, one, with his fitness, but two, with what we've seen from Saka since his last injury, which was the big surgical hamstring injury, that not only did we need it, maybe Saka needed it a little bit. Maybe he needed it not to say he's not dedicated to his craft and everything like that, but to be like, wow, at England and at Arsenal, I've got a player that is literally breathing down my neck a little bit, which is nothing. We could never have thought that in our wildest dreams that we would sign someone solely for that purpose. I think personally, my most optimistic take would have been we sign someone that's a left winger that becomes that somehow on the right at times. Do you know what I mean? That was my theory in my head. I didn't think we'd get both. So that's maybe, did Saka need it? Is this true out-and-out competition? And is Saka's greatest strength his versatility? Because, you know what I mean? So if you're going to move someone and keep the level up or raise the level, could it be Saka? Because he is, I think, one of his greatest strengths is you can plop him kind of anywhere, Saka. I know he's not done that for 2 or 3 years, but if we remember how he came through, played at left wing a lot, played at left back a lot, played in attacking mid a little bit as well. He did when we were really bad, and he basically ran the show for us.
If you look at United away, Jack, he did. He moved Saka left and put Madueke right in the end. So yeah, when Saka's back, and I you know more than me, so I'll wait for when you give your diagnosis, because you're better than all of us at this sort of thing. But with Odegaard, what I did like yesterday, and you guys were spot on earlier, was he could have easily have moved Eze inside into that position and gone with a Martinelli, but he went, no, I'm going to back Nwaneri. I've said, this is Nwaneri's position. He's my Odegaard backup. So I like the fact that he did that when that injury occurred. I agree with what you guys said, but I think, like you said as well, depending on the opposition, if it's more per se big game in quotations, I could see him potentially moving Eze back into an inside, as an 8 or a 10, and then doing Madueke and Saka. But even Saka on the left hand, because like you said, he's versatile. Saka for me, he's one of them. If you put gloves on him, he'll probably do you a job in goal. He just loves being out there and wherever you put him.
Yeah, he's smart. He's intelligent.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but very different. I mean, my brother will constantly whine about Saka and how Madueke is so much more, direct and refreshing and a true out-and-out winger. And I said, okay, well, that's fine. But Saka will play. I mean, he will fight if he gets anywhere near his peak level. He's playing. I mean, he really is. He's just playing. But there is an argument to say that he may not always play at the right. I know it sounds crazy, but if a player is doing standing ovation, you were there. I mean, that doesn't happen. How often do we get a standing ovation for a player that never scored and never assisted? It doesn't happen that often. Like, I don't know. You're there more than I am, but I remember those moments, so that is something that is saying you had such an impactful game without really the output, and maybe a little bit unlucky with that, I think, as well at times. But yeah, Neil, anything to add on Madueke? I want to talk about Eze actually, but anything to add on him?
No. I think I don't want to waste too much time because you guys have summed it up. But I just find him we've got 2 great players now on both sides, as we saw demonstrated yesterday perfectly. Both very different, both very similar. But Madueke, what stands out about him is the directness, but also his aggression. And he said, I think in one of the interviews, he said, I don't know any other way to play. That's the way I'm going to play. And I'm glad that Arteta has seen that and understood that and recognised that, and is allowing him the freedom to play like that, rather than maybe do some of his Artetamanship and put stuff in him which then goes against his natural ability. And even Arteta yesterday said, which I found quite funny, that we've got to play these players to their strengths. Yes, Mr. Eyebrows, that's exactly what you've got to do, mate. All right. So I'm glad that he's recognised that. Hopefully he has, and he's not just saying it. But he did. I mean, he was just sitting there watching this guy. I think you said it, Jack, earlier. It's excitement. That's the one word that comes, steaming out of this signing. He's exciting. Every time he got the ball, everyone was up on their feet. It was all the time like that, and it hasn't happened often with us for a long time. With a lot of players, and he's actually managing to do this. But equally, as good as our other signing is on the other side, they're both kind of different as well as being similar. You guys just talked about Saka, and of course Saka's world class and he will play. But I think what this now brings us is the ability to actually do a pure rotation. We can play Saka in some games and then completely change it for the next without that drop-off. And I think you're right, Jack. I actually think this is going to be good for Saka. It's going to actually make him an even better player, because if we didn't have these signings, it would be Saka on there all the time again. And I don't know whether that would have been good for his career, because I think this injury or whatever this is would have started getting worse and degrading him slowly. So I think this is a magical signing window, a transfer window to help Saka through what could have been a really bad spell for him if he was called upon game after game.
Yeah, I mean, the fact is you can't risk Saka at this point. I mean, I know he's slow to come back, but you get another hamstring issue with him, and everyone's just going, well, what are we doing here? I mean, we are at that stage. I know it's just been 2, but because it's been in such quick succession, you really can't risk it. I mean, I'd even say with the Havertz stuff, it being sort of a knee issue, like a low knee issue, which can sometimes happen post-surgical and things can come up, is much less concerning than, even though it's the opposite hamstring, than someone getting basically same injuries or similar injuries in a repeat fashion over a short period of time. So we will have to be much more modified with him, But James, I've got to talk about Eze because he's such a contrast almost. Like he came into the game, he's the one that got the assist. Maybe could have got more as well, but Madueke almost took the limelight in a way. But on the second goal, I think it's just a perfect sort of outline of, I kind of tweeted, Madueke got the man of the match for me, but Eze's the smartest attacker we might have at the club, because I just thought some of the stuff that he did with the ball when he was on the left was just so simple, yet like beautiful and clean and quick. There's so much clarity about the way he played, and it epitomised it for the second goal, really. I've kept thinking about it over and over again. I said it to my brother a couple of hours ago. I just sent a message. I went, tell me any other attacker we have that just hits that first time. I'm not sure there's a lot that just comes down and he just whips it first time. I'm not sure there's a lot. I'm not sure there's another attacker we have before this that would be in Gyokeres' position either, to be honest. So you might want us to talk about that. But it's a great direct goal from Calafiori. It's such a simple goal, but a very sort of, I wouldn't say un-Arsenal goal. We've definitely done it before, but something we want to see more of, James. Really clean goal.
Yeah. I mean, I'll go try and get through this as quick as I can, because I know all of us will want to speak about this. Eze, yeah, some of the stuff that he's doing in the first half, unreal, innit? Unreal. I mean, I'm jealous that you saw that in person, Neil. Really, because some of it's amazing. I mean, another one where I'm going to have to speak to our lovely, endearing fan base. He can't play left wing, though, can he? He can't play left wing. Can't buy Eze to play left wing. He's dreadful at it, Jack. He can't play left wing. He can't do it. Why is Arteta bought someone like him to play left wing? He looked fucking good yesterday, didn't he? He looked fucking good yesterday. I mean, the one where he just completely shimmied it, and I think you sent us it, and you went, "Oh, look, the Pires shimmy."
It was the Pires shimmy.
Yeah,
it really
I'm like,
was.
I was just sat there going, bloody hell, the guy on the left's being sent by Madueke and Eze's just taking it. I'm like, these two are just taking the mick. I'm like, I know that the scoreline ain't what I want it to be, but I'm like, God, they're taking the piss out of these two today. I'm like, they're really, really having a bit of fun and a good time. But yeah, that second goal, obviously, after we scored the first in the first half, there was noticeably a drop-off. And we were all sat there going, weren't we? Oh, last season we were, biggest team with winning positions and then throwing it away and getting draws or losses. And all that's creeping in, it's that and everything setting into your mind. And you're just like, right, look, second half, just get into these as quick as we can. And almost immediately, wasn't it? And I'll go down to the man below me as well. It probably looked different on YouTube, so I sound silly now, but where we're filming this, he is below me. The other day, Neil, weren't it, you said when people said about Calafiori against Leeds and they went, that ball's a fluke. I'm like, this is getting lost in the whole goal. I'm like, this boy again.
Can I just say one thing? I won't talk about the goal, it's all yours. No. But what he did there, Who's one of the greatest players you've ever seen live? For me, it's Bergkamp. He is the greatest player I've ever seen live. And I have seen Messi and I have seen Ronaldo. I still think it's Bergkamp. I don't give a shit if people think I'm being biased. He is God. And I know this is going to be blasphemy, but he said his idol was Glenn Hoddle, which is the irony. And Glenn Hoddle used to play balls like that from the back, pinpoint going forward. And when I saw Calafiori do that, it took me not only to Bergkamp, but to Glenn Hoddle. That's how good it was. And I'll say that it's all yours, James.
Yeah, no, this is it. I'm like, so many of them are like, oh, he didn't mean that against Leeds. And that was I'm like, this guy, especially this season as well. I know yesterday, slight shaky defensively at times, but I was like, the more he plays in English football and the more he understands it, he's going to be some player. And I tell you what, he reads it so well because he knows just launch that ball into that area because these boys that we've got now are so quick and they want it. That's the kind of football that they want. You know, this was why I was so angry about when we played Liverpool because I was like, Gyokeres wants stuff quick and he wants to be fed. Early, and yeah. I've seen Eze do this with Mateta. And I'm like, as much as I think Mateta's a great striker, and he really is, I'm like, Gyokeres is 10 times better than Mateta is. But I'm like, the best Arsenal teams that I've ever seen from since I've been alive and watched it, play direct and fast. Neil, all the time, how many times do you've sat here over the years where you're like, fast football, play fast football? And yesterday, yeah, like we said, direct, ping that ball, the guy again, fullback, idiot for letting it bounce, and it's his own fault. Absolute tit letting it bounce over his head. But then, like you said, Eze, yeah, I'm not going to take a touch. I'm not going to set myself, just straight across, Gyokeres, bang. And, you know, I saw all these people, oh, he's a bloody tapping merchant now. I'm like, great.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll have a tapping merchant. Because I've had people at Arsenal that are strikers that get in positions like that and then they try and assist. They don't shoot. Yeah. So I'll take I'll take a tapping merchant. Yeah. I want somebody who loves scoring goals. And that's all this guy wants to do. Look at the one he rattled off the bar. Jesus Christ. Yeah. He'd have broken the net.
What I want to say about that is that might be my favourite part of Madueke yesterday is the hold, stop, pause, overlap. He did it twice, didn't he? He did it with Timber and Raya should have scored. And I really like that. That was intelligent to me. I'm like, that's intelligent play in the final third. We talk about us being quite stupid in the final third. I think, to be honest, no offence, but when Trossard and Martinelli came on, we started to see the stupid stuff again. You know what I mean? Like, we got there and nothing happened. And I was like, yeah, that's more of what we're used to. But again, very, very encouraging to see a brand new front three. Right, which is a huge change in a team. A brand new front three being out there as your starting front three, and they all had a really strong impact. And again, brother, very, very accusational to Gyokeres, calls him a fat Alan Shearer. And I said, would we take that though, John? Look, genuinely, you went, he's a fat Alan Shearer, Jack. And I went, but would you take it? Because if he is and he gets 20 goals, like I said, look, I've not been particularly hugely impressed with his overall play, but if I'm sitting here, because he's got 3 goals in 4 games, if I'm sitting here after the dozen games and he's got 9 to 10 goals, I'm only giving him praise. Do you know what I mean? So that's where we're at with him. I think sometimes we've got to look at it and say, if this is a specialist player and what he is about is getting goals, and he gets goals, we're just going to have to be like, he's doing his job. He is doing exactly what he's paid to. And one thing I say about this game is I do think his play was a lot better, to be honest. His overall play, the stuff that doesn't get noticed as much, that maybe we look at a bit too much now because of the likes of Jesus and Havertz and what they were brought in to do, you know. But some of his link-up was very, very good. I mean, part of that shot against the post really was made from Gyokeres, you know. It was, wasn't it? And you know, I said already in previous, I don't think he was meant to start all these early games necessarily. I think we were meant to kind of ease him in. Havertz was there to provide, and he didn't provide that, so I don't think it's necessarily helped him. You know what I mean? But that again, that finish, you say it's an easy finish, but the movement and the timing in order to get to that position, that's a striker's instinct. That's a striker's movement. We've not really had that. You say that there's so many of those crosses that I've seen for Arsenal over the last 2 years, and I'm like, where is it? Where's the striker? It's just gone to no one. So he's there. You know, that's really important. But I was really excited by the shot as well.
You could tell, Jack, because when he scored, You know, we all know what he does when he scores. He hits he does the celebration, he hits the pose, but he didn't right away because he ran straight to Eze, didn't he? And he was like, you, mate. And he hugged it because he's like, that's what I want all game. I want to be given the ball as quick as you possibly can give me it, so I can either tap it in or I can run and smash the ball. And I'll take fat Alan Shearer all day.
Do you know what I mean?
I will have fat Alan Shearer all day because we haven't had somebody for so long. And I mean, Aubameyang, we can say what Aubameyang loved to score goals. He did love to score. And we haven't had a player that loves to score goals. And the last 3 titles that have been won, which was Man City twice and Liverpool last season, have always had the top goal scorer. They've had someone that's got them 25 plus in the league to win it. He is the only person for me that can get 25 plus in our side. And I know I love Saka and everything, but I'm like, he can, if you give him what he needs, score 25 plus goals with ease. And again, people were saying about in Portugal last year, he didn't score against any of the top 6. He only, bashed the lower sides. Great. Because last season we drew 14 games and most of them were against sides that were low block that we couldn't score against. So I'm like, I don't mind if he doesn't score against a Man City or Chelsea, and this is what I'll do. When we play one of those sides and he does score, I'll go, he don't score against big teams though. Like Thierry Henry, weren't it, when Jose Mourinho said, weren't it, when we draw that game? I think it was 1-1, weren't it, at Highbury?
2-2.
Oh, 2-2. There you go. Yeah, he said straight away. Yeah. He said straight away, didn't he? He went, don't score against big teams.
Scored both, didn't he? Yeah. One where he swiveled around the goalkeeper, I think it was. Yeah, exactly. Who's criticising Thierry Henry? You're an idiot if you're doing that, aren't you, really? But no, I do agree. I mean, I think maybe people had something else in their mind when they signed. I mean, maybe even I did, but I don't know. But really, like you say, we need someone that's a specialist there, really. I mean, it doesn't have to be a jack of all trades in every position. You need specialists sometimes, and this guy knows where the goal is. I mean, that shot was, again, I think that shot came from Eze getting the ball to him early. I think it did. Eze got the ball to him early. He created it, ran around Madueke. He did. And so Eze, you're right with the Eze Mateta stuff. I think there's a little bit, there could be a real connection there between those two, and that's important because for me, Eze's a starting left winger. He's just got to be. He's just got to be a starting left winger. We have to make that, his position. I think he could play elsewhere. Of course, he's such an intelligent player, but I really liked what I saw from Eze as well. I know he didn't get the plaudits necessarily, but I did really like what I saw from him in the final third. I thought it was excellent, really, really good. I mean, at 2-0, we could make all the changes and stuff, Neil, and bring Rice on for his cameo and take Gyokeres off, because we're going to need him probably for all these 3 games this week. We don't have the exact alternative, though. Merino constantly scoring in internationals could provide that maybe. Well, your thoughts on Merino, Neil, in this one? I've had concerns about Merino playing with a Zubimendi Odegaard midfielder, ex-Sociedad midfield, in terms of our athleticism. I thought it looked good in this game, Merino. I definitely did it. I thought nice touches. I still do get concerned a little bit about him being midfield where the pace of the game is a little quicker than this game, and the other team provides a little bit more in terms of an attacking threat where we can get transitioned on a little bit easier. But he's got a lot of faith in Merino. I quite liked his comment about why he started him. Like he said, well, he came off of 4 goals in 2 games for his country, and I wanted to use that emotional state to play him, kind of thing. Well, which was quite an interesting comment. But what are your thoughts on him, Neil?
To be honest, I said earlier, I was more focused on Scooby in that match, so I wasn't really looking at Merino too much. But maybe that's a good thing, because sometimes when you don't notice a player, it probably means that they're doing all right and they're doing a good job. My thoughts on Merino is I still think he's a better forward. I know it's an easy answer because the facts are there, but I still think he suits our style of play better as a forward. So, if we do need him and Kai Havertz isn't quite ready and Gyokeres needs a rest, then I think he's our only option really at the moment, in my opinion. There's arguments that we could potentially play Martinelli in the place that I've always wanted him to play, but I've just lost all confidence as well in the guy, and I think Merino did a good. There was a couple of moments I did look at him, and I think he was in the right place at the right time, and he made some nice touches. As you said, he could have scored early doors, couldn't he? He was there. He could have scored early doors. I think it was a good save from by the keeper. He made himself look big, didn't he? It was quite early on when Merino had a chance.
He scored it.
Yeah, that's right. So I think he made an impact in the game, a better impact than we might have seen earlier in the season. But I just think, for me personally, if we're going to use him and utilise him, I'd rather see him playing more forward than in the midfield, because I think we've probably got enough in the midfield to be okay anyway. End of the day, the fact that Odegaard went off and Ethan came on, I thought Ethan done all right. The only one thing I'll say about Ethan is, and I think he did try a few times on his left foot, but it didn't quite work out yesterday. I want to see the Ethan that we saw when he first started making those cameos for us, where he was making an immediate impact. It's now he's kind of been overridden by Doberman coming and doing that. And although we didn't see him yesterday, but I want to see, because I know Ethan's got that quality. He just doesn't disappear. And I just want to see him. The way that Madueke was very aggressive yesterday, I want to see that from Ethan as well. So I want to see him play more, and he probably will now that Odegaard's out. Well, we'll see anyway. Let's see on Tuesday, because Tuesday's only a couple of nights away now. Let's see what he does with it, because Odegaard won't play on Tuesday anyway. No. So let's see if he does give Ethan the chance and sticks with him, and let's see.
I would Tuesday, by the way. I would, because I don't think he'll get it. Sorry to interrupt. I don't think he'll get it against City. I don't think he will. I don't think he'll get the nod against City, even if Odegaard's out. Personally, I don't know if you boys agree, but I don't think he will. I don't think he quite thinks he's ready for the big games, I agree with that. Sorry,
I think we'll play Tuesday, not on the weekend. I agree with that. But I just want to see more of him. It doesn't matter which games they are, because I think that, come on, I was lauding him before Doberman hit the running with us. He's a quality player. James, you know that. You both know that. And we just need to see him given a chance. And I don't want, all this great talk, and it's great talk, and it's necessary about our new signings. I don't want to overlook him at all, because I think there's a real talent there, and we can't miss that. Otherwise, if he's not given a chance this season, he's going to start asking questions about to be moved on, and I think that will be a huge loss for us. So I just wanted to mention Ethan in this pod very quickly.
Yeah, there's an argument. Lewis Kelly really kind of broke the mould in terms of the amount of games he played last season. Probably expecting that again this season, given a fully fit squad, would have been probably quite optimistic. I'm sure from not Lewis Skelly's perspective, he'll probably see it as a bit of a step back. And I think you might be, I don't want to be too harsh, but I think you may be seeing that a little bit in his performances and his cameos a little bit, where he's kind of like maybe too eager to impress, or, because he's like, well, I've kind of lost my spot here. But as an 18-year-old, you shouldn't really look at that, because you should never have got it to begin with, but circumstances kind of set you in that mould, and if we're going to win something big, maybe having sort of two 17, 18-year-olds starting every game. I know there's exceptions like Yamal and things like that, but maybe that's not super realistic in this league anyway. You know what I mean? So that them being able to be rotated and plugged and played in when needed is probably a better use of them. But I'm not sure Lewis Skelly will see it that way. But Ranieri should, though. He should feel like he's being trusted a little bit more than last season, even at this point, I would say. So I like the way he's actually using Ranieri this season. I think it makes a lot of sense to me. I do. I'm not sure when Odegaard's out what the perfect sort of midfield trio is for big games. I'm not sure we've quite nailed that yet, but that's up to him to sort of figure that out. It's up to him to figure that out. James, we should talk about it, because it doesn't get talked about a lot. I think it gets talked about from the media in a sort of negative attribute. Everyone wanted to post the Opta stats last week on our open play XG. You won't see it this week, by the way. You won't see Open Play XG posted this week, because then it would throw us back up there. So they don't want that this week. They won't throw that up there this week. But you all know where the agenda. I get it. I have concerns about that stuff myself, but I when it's getting posted. But I think we should say something about just the fact of how limited we keep teams at times. We do talk about it a little bit on this podcast, but when we've had a guy like Mosquera come in who was 2021, never played in the league, looking so strong, I think Gabriel, his partner, deserves a ton of credit because I personally think Gabriel is the best centre-back in the league, to be honest. I think he has been for about 12 months. And I think that helps Mosquera, but Mosquera, no, he deserves a lot of credit. I mean, he did some really good things. His ability on the ball is so impressive. The types of passes he tries to play. He does this thing where he kind of holds the ball a little longer than Saliba. I don't know if you noticed, but in the first half, some fans were getting frustrated with it. And even I was like, move the ball along. But then in the second half, I kind of started to appreciate it a bit more because he was trying to play forward passes and wait for an opening, which is actually not that. That's not really what we do from centre-back. That was different. And he also made an incredible header where we were kind of all over the place for a second. And otherwise they would have scored. I mean, I don't know how he got to it either. So some really good stuff from him. Obviously did fantastic at Anfield. Deserved to keep his spot here, irrespective of Saliba's fitness, I think. James, a really fantastic player for £13 million or something like that. Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you said it earlier about having these players that, they've got to fight for their shirts. And I know it sounds silly. I know the minute Saliba's fit, he's going to be dropped back in. He's Saliba. It's William Saliba, for Christ's sake. But I would say at the moment, it's a bit harsh dropping this lad. Because he is... and I said it, didn't I? Yesterday, I went on the old Google Translate and I was like, what's mustard in Spanish? And it's mostaza. And I'm like, that's what this guy is. He's mostaza. He's superb. That diving header, he's got no right to do that. That one that you said about the clear it. And I'm like, he's read that. I'm like, oh my God, he's reading of the game so far. 3 Premier League games in. He had a cameo against Leeds where he was playing at right back. He weren't even playing at centre back. And then he's gone right in at Anfield, didn't put a foot wrong there apart from, shaky beginning. And yesterday, and you make a great point, Jack, the amount of time, he's a good player by the amount of times they kept giving him the ball. Because I'm like, you don't get given the ball and be trusted with the ball if they reckon you're a mess. If they think you're a bit shaky or they don't trust you. But they were going to him, have that and dictate play.
Most touches, didn't he? Did he have most touches?
Exactly. Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, they're like, have as much of the ball as you want.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and I'm like, what a player. He's another one, 13 million quid. And you look at how many teams in this league need defenders, Jack. Liverpool were screaming out for a centre-back. I know they went for Guehi and they didn't get... And I'm like, this guy with 13 million quid. I'm like, you're telling me he weren't on the radar of everybody else as well? I'm like, he's a steal. Absolute bargain. What a player.
That's a Berta signing, isn't it?
Oh, God, yeah.
Because he had links there from Atletico, yeah. So Neil was done.
What a superb player. Yeah, Berta has been watching him for about 2-3 years, apparently, and was like, he's coming. He's like, whatever I can do, I'm having him. And yeah, he's superb. What a player.
Yeah, absolutely. We got the third through Zubimendi. Nice header. Another slight deflection that took it into the top corner. So he's had a great day there, but gets the goal, which I love. I love it if it's a deflection, he gets the goal. I start, saying, there you go, Frank Lampard made a career out of it. Well done, Zubimendi. Keep that up. But yeah, he deserved it. I mean, I've had the criticisms of some players coming in. Zubimendi was one that I think I was tweeting about 3 years ago, to be honest, Zubimendi. That's one I definitely really liked. He's just, and what I like about it, he doesn't take extra touches, Zubimendi. That's the one thing. Like, I was trying to compare him to Jorginho and Partey. I think he's more two-footed, for sure. He can use both feet really comfortably. And I think he just doesn't take the extra touch. Jorginho is quite good at that as well. He kind of gets it out of his feet. But he just doesn't take... He's very, very, very efficient. I mean, you said Federer, Neil. Like that. He's just super technically efficient, which is really good for us as well. Just fantastic. I think he's had a really positive start for us. I know he's had some tough games. There was moments for him for sure at Anfield and at Old Trafford, but that is not it might be the hardest position to come into, and he's just had to roll into it. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's not really had anyone to foil him and ease him in either, a bit like Gyokeres. So I think he deserves a lot of credit, but it was a really comfortable performance. I mean, Neil, is there anything else you want to say on any specific player? I mean, we mentioned Raya at the start, who deserves credit because it's hard to not do anything and then be called into action on a random deflection. So he does deserve a lot of credit for that. But, I mean, defensively, we are so good. I mean, Timber, again, the best right back in the league as well. But just fantastic, Neil. Yeah, really, really good.
No, nothing really else to say. I mean, what we have to give Raya a mention because that was a amazing fingertip save. Initially, you just think it's straight onto the bar, don't you? But then you realise, no, he actually saved that. And to keep a clean sheet on his 100th appearance is quite apt because he's done that so many times for us. He is a great goalkeeper, and I think, we all talk about Seaman and Lehmann and all these goalkeepers. I think, I know that he's going to be another one to add to the list to success with this club. This whole squad is. I just think it's quite a nice, refreshing change to what we've been used to for many, many years, where we've had to make do. We've almost, even Wenger, because of the stadium, he had to make do with what he had. It was almost like the scraps, but he still had managed to somehow utilise what he had at his disposal and get us fourth consistently. I don't know how he did it. I mean, for me, Wenger's the greatest manager of all time. I don't care. You can talk about Pep, Merino and Ferguson all day long, but for me, for what Wenger had at his disposal, makes him the greatest manager of all time, in my opinion. And yes, I am biased. Of course, I bloody am. But what I'm saying is, it's now refreshing that Arteta has been given at his disposal, as James said, a plethora of a mix. It's almost like a cocktail mix of drinks or sweets at the candy shop, where he can mix them up and combine them to their most effective use for the team that we're playing against. Whereas before, we didn't have that luxury. And that's what I saw yesterday. And, look, you guys might think I'm off my head here, but you talked about Saka earlier. As it stands, the way these two wingers played with Gyokeres, because it's not just Eze, who I think is going to form a good relationship with him, it's Madueke as well on the other side. Because he's going to be doing that for... Madueke's going to be doing the same for Gyokeres on the other side. I don't think Saka gets in at the moment. Not at the moment in the sense of, obviously, he's injured, but if the next 2 or 3 games will be telling, because I don't know if Saka's going to be ready for the next 2 or 3 games. I don't know, Jack, how you see it. So we're going to see this combination now for the next few games. And it's not enough just to judge by one game. Of course it isn't. The signs are good and the evidence is there. But let's see what happens in the next 2 or 3 games. And if we don't have a drop-off, and we have performances consistent to what we saw yesterday, and we get the results, when Saka's ready, I don't think it's going to be a difficult decision for Arteta to make. And I think, the fans might think that, hang on a minute, these guys are doing brilliantly. It's not fair that they're going to lose their spot, or at least one of them is going to lose their spot, Saka coming in. Of course, Saka will play. I'm not someone who's turned against Saka, of course not. But I'm just saying that it's refreshing now to have these options. And that's what I saw. And I just think it was a complete team performance. It was great from everyone there. The atmosphere was fantastic. And I just love the fact that not even, 5 seconds into his job, and we're singing, "You're going to get sacked in the morning," was absolutely
I did
brilliant.
laugh at that. That was brilliant. I have to say, I didn't laugh at 1-0. I wasn't willing to sing it. At 2-0, I was laughing my head off. Yeah, I was laughing my head off. Of course, well, you fans are, especially superstitious fans, are a little bit. But I agree on Saka. I mean, really, Neil, it comes down to a health thing, but also we just can't afford to risk him. People say, "Oh, could Saka?" Without doubt, could be involved in the next few games, but from the start, absolutely not, and nor should he be, because there's a player there that is, the one thing I said before this game, when I was sort of talking to people, I said Madueke needs to show that we do not need to rush back Saka like we have done every single time that he's picked up anything, and that's he's shown that we do not need to do that. So, and he looks like he's fit. Touch wood, Madueke strong, repeat running, very, very strong and fit. So no, absolutely no need to. If he wants to be if he's going to be part of the squad, great. But there shouldn't be any need to rush him back like we did for the Real Madrid games and stuff like that last year. No, I don't want to see that, because I think that's going to set us up for a problem anyway. And it's a long season, and I know there's massive games at the moment, but And, I don't think we should be doing that at all. So, yeah, no, I agree with you on that. We've got Atletico Bilbao in midweek. They've had a good start to the season, James. I think they might have Nico Williams out, but I'm not sure. I think he was out this weekend anyway, where I think they lost this weekend, but they've had a very good start to the season. And I think we played them in pre-season. James, I expect a few rotations. What's your prediction there? Anything you see massively in terms of the lineup? Maybe we see, I think the maximum we could see is Saliba back amongst the group. I personally would adjust the whole left side. That would be my kind of preference if we're going to make changes. Not the whole of it, but I could see a left back change and a left wing change possibly, and obviously Rice coming in. I'd like to see Hincapi play, but what about you, James?
Yeah, I think I'm the similar sort of vein. I know that we want to get off to a good start in our Champions League campaign. I totally agree with that. But we got Man City at the weekend as well. I wouldn't begrudge Ben White starting here. I know what you're saying about Bilbao and everything else, but I thought we handled them pretty easy in pre-season. I did think they were, watching them live when they played against us, I didn't think they had much about them. Obviously, it's Champions League, so it's going to be a bit more serious, but yeah, I wouldn't begrudge Calafiori, because I think Calafiori will play against Man City, regardless of how well Miles Lewis-Skelly did in that emotional whole thing where, Haaland said, "Who are you?" and then he bagged on him at the end. So I can see that being, I can see him maybe coming on. I can't see Miles Lewis-Skelly starting this against Man City. So yeah, I think either Hincapié, or Lewis-Skelly at left back as well. Rice will definitely come back in, I think. And then the forward line, I don't know. I think he'll keep it. I think he'll keep it what it's been. And then hopefully same sort of principle here. If we're about 2 or 3 up on about 65, 68 minutes again, get them out, swap them out.
Yeah. Because
City, we'll see today, won't we? Depending on what goes on in that derby, I think Guardiola could be on a sticky wicket. I know it's only.
Is it at Old Trafford or is it at City?
It's at City, I think.
Is it? Yeah, they should win. I mean, they should win. United are dreadful, wouldn't they?
Well, when Man United are playing goalkeepers that they can't catch, you're thinking they should be with Haaland. When you've got a guy that can't save a football, you're thinking
they're going to probably both have new goalkeepers in this one, aren't they?
No, they've both come out and said, didn't they? Pep's probably going to play Donnarumma because he's like Arteta, where he says this person isn't fit and this person isn't playing, and all of a sudden they play. But yeah, apparently that Bayan Dyer, whatever his name, Bayan Deer, whatever his name is, he's still playing for. He said, I think it's too hard to bring the new young lad into an environment like this.
How young is he?
23. Well, I'm like, you bought him because you need a goalkeeper. Yeah. You're still playing one of your silly ones. So I'm like, don't really get that. But there we go. But Amarim's another one. He's mental. Did you see the quotes from him earlier in the week? Yeah, he's better. As I was saying about him and Guy. Well, he was just like, don't compare me to him. Yeah, he said he said he's got way more than what I've got. I'm like, oh God, you're going at your owners now. I'm like, oh, you ain't gonna last long, mate. You ain't gonna last long.
Yeah. Flipping heck. What's your prediction for midweek? And I'll take your prediction for the City game as well, if you can.
Yeah, so I'm actually confident about both. So midweek, I'm going to go for 2-0, and I'll go Gyokeres again. And then the weekend against City, I'll go for 2-1, and I will say... Let's go for Rice. I'll go Declan Rice against Man City. Yeah, I'll pick someone that's not a striker or a forward player.
Take that. All right, James, like it. I'll take that.
So 6 points. We're not doing losses or draws.
any score line with 6 points out of these next two would be amazing. Neil, what about you?
Obviously I don't do draws or losses anyway, so my prediction is always going to be a win. It's just a matter of by how much.
I know you, Neil.
No, I'm going to be conservative for Tuesday. Actually, I think it's just because it's our it's just because it's our first one back into the Champions League. I mean, I could be completely wrong. We could bulldoze them 8-0. I don't know, but I'm going to go 2-1 for the midweek. I don't know why. Maybe because there might be a slight change at the back. It may not unsettle us, but it will. It's nice to have lots of clean sheets, isn't it? I mean, just a quick one on Gyokeres. Everyone's having a go at him. He scored 3 and 4. He scored 3 and 4.
Not bad, is it?
It's not bad. Everyone's going, oh yeah, well, look at this player you got. He's scored 3 out of 4, mate. Shut up, idiots. And he's going to score a lot more. I agree with you, James. He's going to get 20, 25. So
bit amazing if
all right.
He does.
2-1 Tuesday. I'll hurry up, and I'm going to go with. I won't say Gig. I think it will be, but I won't because James has chosen him. I'll go Madueke actually. 2-1.
Yeah,
and then City. Hold your horses. Hold on to everything. I think we're going to do them again quite nicely, like we did last season. I've really got this feeling. I'm going 4-0. I'm going.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm going for. I want to put them to bed, and I want them out of this league. If they don't do it properly with the regulations, I want to do it footballing wise and get them out of this league that way. Get them out of the top 6. The arseholes cheating gits.
Well, they are that. Yeah.
4-0, and I'm gonna say Scooby again.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Mendy. Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez, there you go. There's Neil being, modest with his takes, but mild on it.
That is modest for it to go for 4-0 against City. I was expecting a 5 or a 6 or a 7. So he has been conservative there, only saying 4. So fair play.
Conservative. That's the word.
He don't want Arteta. Arteta will, when we're 3-0 up, he'll be like, "Look, go easy. He's my friend. Let's not really embarrass. Let's be kind."
You boys. I'll go. So Bilbao. It's a 9:45 a.m. for me. 5:45 p.m. for you. That's an interesting one, isn't it? I'll go 3-1. 3-1 Bilbao. I'll go 3-1. Gyokeres. 3-1 Gyokeres, and then City at home. I'll go 1-0. 1-0 Arsenal, and Eze. I'll go 1-0 Arsenal. Eze. We take all of the scores. We take all of the scores right there, wouldn't we? We really would. But massive week ahead. Hopefully we can. Obviously, we're away in midweek. I was getting all the homes and aways all mixed up. We're away in midweek, right? And then we're home at the weekend. That's it. Okay. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully, some good news on Odegaard. Maybe we can get 1 or 2 back amongst the group. That'd be nice. It'd be good to see Hincapié get a start, I think, in maybe midweek, because you've got to be a little bit careful with Calafiori. You do. I mean, he looks great. He's been brilliant. Player of the month for the club. But we know his fitness issues, and it'd be very interesting. I don't think he's going to be one of those ones that you just roll in 3 times a week. Maybe we get surprised by it. Right?
I agree with that, Jack.
But I feel like that maybe. Why have you got that depth there? If you've gone and spent, I know we haven't, but we've gone and spent 50 million on him. You're going to use that player. It's not like you've just bought in a Norgard type signing who would be a much cheaper purchase. So I think there will be that. Whether he's ready to do that yet or not, I don't know, but I think so, and I actually really like the look of Hincapié as well, so I'm excited to see him play. I think he might provide a good slight contrast defensively to what we see from that position. So boys, it's been brill. Loved it. Up the Arsenal. We're at Purely Arsenal FP on Twitter. Thank you for all your comments on YouTube. We do post most of the links. Sometimes I'm just posting the YouTube links. You know where we are though. We're on Spotify, on your Apple Podcasts apps. I'm sure you're subscribed already, but if you're not, subscribe to the YouTube one. That would really help us out. We appreciate it. Neil, James, top stuff. We'll be back after 6 more points hopefully this week coming up. Up the Arsenal boys. Thank you so much. Take care.